residential status. Now, the term residential status has been coined under the income tax law of India. He should have been in India for at least 730 days in all during the 7 previous years. He should have been in India for at least 730 days in all during the 7 previous years. Hello everyone, I am your Adarsh sir, lecturing Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. So we are in session 2 of your topic called Tax Management 1. As I told you, this is a subject to score centum. In the previous session, we discussed about the basic concept like what do you mean by income tax, who is person, who is assessee, what is assessment year and what is previous year. Each and everything we discussed in the previous session. What we are going to discuss in today's session, we'll go for that. This will be your agenda for the particular session. Now, we will cover up your residential status. We will cover up only the theory part in today's session. Your residential status, basic conditions, additional conditions and determination of residential status. Now, these are the topics we are going to cover in today's session. So, before we go to your basic conditions, additional conditions as well as what are the determinants of residential status, before that we will understand what is residential status. In your examination, this question will come for 5 or 10 marks. Small problem, normally it will come for 5 marks. Now, residential status. Now, in the residential status, there are two things. One is resident, another one is non-resident. Means you are Indian or not. You have to pay tax in India or else abroad. I'll give you best example. Now, if your parents are your some cousins, they are in abroad. Maybe they are in Dubai, USA, Australia, somewhere. Now, whatever the income earning in Dubai, they should pay tax in Dubai or else they should pay tax in India. For that, you will get solution if you learn this residential status. Now, one more example I'll give you. Now, IPL is going on. The foreigners are there. I can take example of A.B.D. Villiers. Now, so he scored 100 and he is the man of the match winner. Or else he is the player of the match. Now, whatever award given to A.B.D. Villiers, whether he should pay tax in India or else he should pay tax in South Africa. Now, so for these things, there is a solution called residential status. With the help of this, you can understand he should pay tax in which country. Now, in the residential status, you have two things. One will be resident and non-resident. Now, if he is non-resident, no further calculation. Means he is not in India. Most of the time he was in abroad. So he is called as non-resident. Whether he is a resident or non-resident, we have certain conditions like basic conditions, additional condition. If he fulfills those, then we treat him as resident or non-resident. Now, if he is a resident, the conditions and all will come later. Just understand, if he is a resident, again we should find out whether he is a ordinary resident or not ordinarily resident. Again, I'll repeat, if he is a resident, we should see whether he is a ordinarily resident or not ordinarily resident. What do you mean by ordinarily? What do you mean by not ordinarily? Everything you will understand once we done with conditions. We'll go for that. Before that, we will understand what do you mean by residential status. Now, the term residential status has been coined under the income tax law of India. In India, we have coined like residential status. Now, must not be confused with an individual citizenship. So it is not like you are a foreigner, you are from USA, you are from Kuwait. So we cannot determine his income according to he is Indian or foreigner. We should go with all the condition whether he should fulfill or not. According to that, we should calculate he is a resident or not. Now, an individual may be citizen of India but may end up being a non-resident. In the example like, for example, you can take example of mine also. I born and brought up in India. Example, last 10 years I was in Dubai. Example, last 10 years I was in Dubai. I am a resident or not. For that, you have to fulfill certain conditions like basic as well as additional. If you fulfill those, then only you are called as resident. If you are not fulfilled any of the condition, you are not called as resident. Even though you're born in India, you are not called as resident. Clear? Yes. Of India, but may end up being non-resident for a particular year. So every year he cannot be a resident. This year he may be resident, next year he may not be resident. According to the condition fulfillment, we consider him as resident or non-resident. Now, the basic conditions. Now, this is very, very, very important. If they ask you 10 mark questions, what is residential status? Explain basic as well as additional conditions. For theory part, you have to write this. Theory 10 mark question, you may get this kind of questions. Now, what is a basic condition? Now, he is in India in the previous year for a period of 182 days. He must be in India for a period of how many days? He must be in India for 182 days. How to calculate 182 days? Simple calculation like the year begins on 1st April. We'll take example of 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. This we call it as complete 365 or 366 days. Now, out of 365 or 360 days, he must be in India for at least how many days? 182 days. How to calculate 182 days? Simple. Last 1 week he was in Dubai. Leave that 1 week. Before that 10 days he was in USA. Leave that 10 days. 5 months back he was there in Australia for 2 months. Leave that 2 months. Excluding that, how many days he was in India? That should be considered as number of days. Clear? Yes. Just I'll give you example. In the month of January he was there for 20 days. Balance 11 days he was in abroad. In the month of February he was there 20 days. In the month of March 20, April, May, June, he was not there in India. Now, July he was there, August he was there, September he was there, October he was there, November month he was there, December due to Christmas 1 month he was in abroad. Now, December he was not there. How many days he was in India? 20 plus 20, 40 plus 20, 60 plus 30, 90, 120, 152, 182, 213. So approximate I have taken, even 1 or 2 numbers may differ. Now, how many days he was in India? 213 days. What is the basic condition? First condition, he must be there in India for at least how many days? 182 days. Was he there in India for 182? Answer is yes. He was there in India for 230, more than 182 days. So he is called as what? Resident. Clear? Very simple. Out of these two conditions, he must fulfill any one. If he fulfilled any one, he is called as resident. Clear? So, as per this example, who fulfilled the first condition, he is called as resident. Clear? Yes. We'll go for example number 2. Now, so November month he was not there. Example number 2. Now, he was not there means 213 minus 30. How much it is? 183 days. Now, in the month of October, 11 days he was not there. He was only there for 20 days. If you minus 11, so it will be 172. 172. Now, how many days he was in India? 172 days. How many days he must be there in India? 182. Was it there for 182 days? Answer is no. If he was there less than 182 days, will not go for first condition, will go for second condition because he has not fulfilled first one. So we'll give him one more chance. Now, whether he will fulfill second condition, we'll check. Now, so he has been in India for at least 365 days during, so you have to mention here, during 4 years. Preceding previous year. Previous year we will not consider. Before that, out of 4 years, he must be there in India for how many days? 365 days. Along with that, at least 60 days in the previous year. Now, they are not asking you 182 days. They are asking how many days? 60 days enough. So, how many days he was there? 172. It is more than 60. Answer is yes. What is the, along with that you have one more condition. What is that? He must be there at 365 days out of 4 years. We will not consider previous year. Preceding previous means excluding previous, go back 4 years. Out of 4 years, he must be there in India for 365 days. Clear? Yes. Out of 4 years, he must be there for 365 days. In the previous year, he must be there for 60 days. Out of these two, if he fulfilled means he is done with his basic condition. So he will be called as what? Resident. Hope you are clear. Now, so if you want to become a resident, out of these two, you should fulfill any one. Again, I'll repeat. If you want to become a resident, out of these two conditions, you should fulfill any one. What is the first one in this? First one is he must be there 180 or more. 182 or more days. What is the second condition? He must be there for 60 days and 365 days out of last 4 years, excluding your previous year. Now, you can go for this option, you can go for this option. Out of these two, any one you should fulfill. If you fulfilled any one, you are called as resident. Clear? Yes. I'll go back to your previous slide. See, out of two conditions, if he fulfilled any one, he will be called as what? Resident. Both the condition, if he did not fulfill, then he will be called as non-resident. Out of two, any one he should fulfill. Both not fulfilled, non-resident. Both he fulfilled, then he is a resident. Clear? Still we are not come for this part. Just we calculated whether he is a resident or not. As per this, he is a resident. Why? Because out of two, any one condition he fulfilled. Clear? Yes. Now, we got to know that he is a resident, but we don't know whether he is a ordinarily resident are not ordinarily resident. Clear? Once you got to know he is resident, then we must know whether he is ordinarily resident or not ordinarily resident. If he is non-resident, will not go further, will stop there itself. If he is a resident, still we need to find out whether he is ordinary or not ordinarily. How to find out, we'll go further. Additional conditions now. So, if he fulfilled these two additional conditions, he is ordinarily resident. If he failed to fulfill any one also, he will become not ordinarily resident. Clear? Once again, I'll repeat. If he fulfilled both, he is called as ordinarily resident. If he failed to fulfill any one of this, he is called as not ordinarily resident. Very simple. Fulfilled, you are ordinarily resident. Not fulfilled, you are not ordinarily resident. Clear? Yes. What are the additional conditions? He has been resident in India at least 2 out of 10 previous years. While calculating previous, we will not consider previous year. Before that, for example, your assessment year is 2021. You know what is assessment year. What is your previous year? 19 and 20. We will not consider this. We'll go, if the 10 years means, we'll start with 18, 19, 17, 18. Like this, we go 10 years. Out of 10 years, he must be resident for how many years? 2 years. Out of 10 years, he must be resident for 2 years. Clear? Yes. Now, this is done. We'll come for this second one. He should have been in India for at least 730 days in all during the 7 previous year. Remember, we will not consider previous year. Other than previous year, we'll go back 7 years. Now, so preceding the relevant previous year. These two conditions you should fulfill. If you fulfill these two, what you will be? Ordinarily resident. If you did not fulfill any of this condition, what you will be? You will be not ordinarily resident. Hope you are clear. Now, so he should be in India for at least 730 days in all during, out of 7 years, he must be there for 730 days. Out of 10 years, he must be there for at least 2 years. He must be resident for 2 years. Clear? These are your additional conditions. Clear? Yes. Now, so determinants, how to find out? Already I explained you what are the consequences. Once again, I'll read out. Resident and ordinarily resident. If you want to become a resident and ordinarily resident, what you should do? If satisfy any one of the basic condition and 2 additional condition. As I told you, out of basic, out of 2, any one, you will become resident. In the additional condition, you should fulfill both. You will become resident and ordinarily resident. Now, resident but not ordinarily resident. Now, if you want to become a resident but not ordinarily resident, same procedure. Basic condition, any one you should fulfill. In the additional condition, does not satisfy any 2. So, if you does not satisfy 2 conditions additional, you will become a resident but not ordinarily resident. Clear? Nothing is fulfilled means you are very simple non-resident. This is only your residential status. So the working is very simple. It is a homework for you. In the working, what you should do means, without seeing anything, you should write the basic condition as well as additional conditions. Now, so whatever I explained you today, it is only your theory part. You will understand better what is that 730 days, what is that 10 years, what is that 2 years, What is that? 182 days. Everything you will understand better while doing problems. It is only theory part. Just you have to remember those numbers. So, before I say thank you, I'll go back to your previous slides. If you want to take screenshot, you can take screenshots. So, this is your today's agenda. This will be your residential status. And residential status meaning your basic conditions we have to. These are the additional conditions. Determination. Once you're done with condition, how to determine whether he is a resident, ordinarily, not ordinarily, and non-resident. And this working will be your homework. So you have to write without seeing. You have to write all the condition, basic as well as additional. So in the next class, on the basis of these things, we'll do problems. So this will be 5-mark problem as well as theory part may come for 10 marks. Thank you.